You're good to go.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, everybody. Appreciate you all being here in person today. Today is October 25th, and it is 9 o'clock in the morning. We are meeting for the Economic Revitalization Committee meeting. We have 3 items on the agenda today. Present are myself, Eric Biter, and Councilman John Mackey, as well as other elected officials from the administration. We're going to start with topic number 1, which was discussion of City Hall, just to give the public an update as to where we are with that. Right now, Council President Adam Yoder has put together an RFQ, a request for qualifications, and I'll just give a brief summary of what that document is asking for. And we're going to finalize that here in the next coming weeks with the other members of council. Let's put that out for a qualified individual. So the City of Williamsport seeks statements of qualifications from experienced architectural and engineering consultants to provide professional services related to identifying and designing the optimal long-term facility to house city government offices. The city's goals are to house city government operations, City Hall, into an accessible, efficient, and cost-effective and historically appropriate facility that can meet municipal needs now and in the future. The project options include rehabilitating the current vacant City Hall, constructing a new facility, or purchasing and renovating an existing building downtown. Extensive experience in ADA compliance, historic preservation, municipal projects, and building evaluations is critically important. The selected consultant will work closely with the mayor, city council, and staff throughout the project, including conducting assessments, developing budget estimates, and making recommendations. If selected, the opportunity may arise in the future phase, including creating designs and providing bidding and construction administration services. Statements of qualification should demonstrate the respondent's history of successfully managing all facets of the project with similar scope and complexity. Goes on to just give a brief overview of the city of Williamsport and its history, talking about the lumber boom and its Victorian homes on Millionaires Row. But then I'll just give some bullet points as well about the project scope. So the selected consultant will work closely with the city mayor and city council, the mayor and staff with multiple phases, the assessment, analysis, and recommendations, thoroughly assess the current City Hall building and viability for renovations, inspect report. The inspection report should evaluate conditions of all major building systems, identify code and accessibility challenges, and provide order of magnitude cost estimates for upgrades and a required long-term housing for city government functions, a feasibility study of other existing buildings in the downtown Williamsport area, a new construction consideration, and a prepared report for summarizing the findings. So phase 2 would be the design and development if recommended project proceeds after phase 1. So the opportunity for a successful consultant would include the following phase 2, which would be create schematic designs, rendering and detailed development plans for the chosen building renovation or new construction projects, facilitate zoning, landmark, and code approval if needed for the selected option, prepare construction cost estimates and budget and project budget based on development design. If the city council elects to proceed after reviewing the development, create biddable construction documents assisting with bidding and analyze proposals received to make recommendations on contractor selection. And then 3 would be construction administration if council elects to proceed. So we go on to list some qualifications that we're looking for from the respondent as well, which I'm not going to bore everybody in reading all of those in the sake of time. And then we also have an evaluation criteria, which respondents will be assessed on the following criteria. Again, these are all just preliminaries right now. We do not have these hammered out in full detail, but we're looking about 40% of that criteria is going to be relevant experience and qualifications. 30% is going to be team and personnel qualifications. 15% would be project approach and understanding. 15% would be references and examples. So again, just to give everybody a quick overview, as I said at the beginning of this, what we're looking at doing here in the next couple of weeks, putting this out, seeing if anybody would be willing to step forward and conduct that study for us. So, Mr. Mackey, is there anything you'd like to add?
Well, I mean, what this RFQ does, I think, is make it seem like these are the only three options. I think, right, we're not addressing the elephant in the room, which is the mayor's current plan, or the idea that maybe we rent a space. I mean, the ad hoc committee, one of the things that they looked at wasn't not to rent out space from the county.
It was.
It was, yeah. And so, I mean, yeah, I mean, this is great, I suppose, if these are the only three options that we're talking about, but these aren't the only three options that we're talking about. So I think, you know, if we move forward with this idea and this plan, and we actually get a qualified company or individual to come in and do this starting in January, I just want to make sure that the public's aware that there are still other options on the table, regardless of the outcome of this study. I don't know, Mayor, do you want to add anything to that?
At this time, I mean, I think the major question to be right now would be, if this goes forward, who's paying for it? I mean, it seems like an astronomical cost that personally seems like the cards in front of the horse, as you mentioned, we talked about this. Not to repeat everything we talked about before, but you know, at this point right now, we have options on the table to go back and, you know, look through all this. I just feel like it would be just kind of drop waste of time. But if you want to look at it, you know, City Hall, in my mind, you know, where I stand with that, 25 to 30 people is about having that millions of dollars. We talked about the next steps being looking at the possibility downtown and other places. I do agree with that, but I think that's the next step after we get to the current step. So this is the first time I'm hearing it, so I don't really have, you know, necessarily thoughts on RFQ other than what I just said. But I think the first and foremost, the major question is how are we paying for this? I think it's from at least in $100,000 to $200,000 range minimum. If not more, it has an extensive list of, you know, qualifications they're asking for them to do research, you know, rehab, new versions, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, that's going to have to be an extremely qualified company. That's not going to do it for pennies. So that's my initial thoughts. I'm sure I'll have more once I see it, a chance to look at it. But that's what I just off the top of.
John, I just want to mention too, with the county selling the other building where the commissioners were located at, I think they're moving more people into their Third Street address over here. So I don't know if they can move into there in the future.
No, yeah, I'm not saying that.
Yeah,
That's not what I was saying.
Okay.
I'm just saying this RFQ applies. These are the only three options on the table, and that is not the case. I mean, it could be argued that the city of Williamsport doesn't have any business owning a building like that, or any building for that matter. In the current financial state that we're in, maybe 10 years, 20 years down the line, I don't know. I won't be here for that. So that's and then there's the cost. I mean, is this something we want to spend taxpayer money on again? To tell us what we already know. I mean, we have an ADA compliance study, very in-depth ADA compliance study that I feel like a neutral third-party construction could give us a very decent estimate on what it would cost to do all of those repairs. And then we would at least have that number. I don't think, you know, so.
We did walk through this for the record. I think I've said it before, but we did walk through the county number of us with all three commissioners, et cetera. And it was half of second floor, I believe what it was, but it was just half, no way. But we did look at that building, but I believe the other one over there.
You know, I mean, that opportunity was passed.
Yeah, I was just saying, you did months ago. We did put that up.
So that's kind of what I have to say about it. I can't say that I would be in favor of something.
Understand
Yeah.
completely. Anyone else in the administration? have anything?
Well, I'll add one other.
Sure.
We are currently working through, and council's aware of this, but we're working through some of the deeds right now that should be on the council agenda within the next month or so. So I think that plays, as I've said before, a major role in all of this, as far as formulating a plan, the long-term plan, as to what buildings we will own or not own. So that'll be a public meeting, obviously. So that should be on council's agenda. From my understanding, RVTA is ready now. They have their account, et cetera, and .fta to start the process now. of What buildings will remain with the city and what transit asset will need to transition. So that should be on council's agenda this next month or so. And then that's a huge equation as well. So again, there's a lot of moving parts here with this, and you know, like I said, administration has this plan right here, and once we have these other pieces in line, we can go with the long term. So you know, I think we have some things that we have done. We had a 2019 audit yesterday. Now that's on council's agenda for tomorrow, then 2020, 2022, as we develop all these. So I just wanted to like that. Well, that should be here in not too distant future.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Mayor, and other members who spoke with the administration. I appreciate you input as always. We're going to move on to item number 2 then. Resolution of City Council, Lycoming County, excuse me. Resolution of the City Council, Lycoming County authorizing the application for public improvements grant. Mr. Mentor, you would please expand upon that for us.
Good morning, everybody. We are in the process of filing a grant. DCED, Keystone Opportunities, for funding for a project at Newberry Park. We filed a grant request for $500,000. That match that CDBG funds, total of about $610,000. Total cost of the project is $1,188,000. Project consists of basketball court, football court, a U8 or U11 soccer field, depending on the amount of acreage we have to fit it in, because those are a little bit smaller than full-size field. And then we would look at doing some more paving around the perimeter of the property to provide parking, in particular handicap accessible parking. There would be paths through the park for accessibility. There would be a restroom facility provided, and splash pad would also be under consideration for this project. Application is actually been sent to DCED. We need the resolution to go along with it. And that's why we're coming to council on Thursday night. Approval. I'm glad to try to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Benny. The first question I have would be the, you said $550,000 is going to come from the city?
$610,000.
$610,000. And that will be coming from where?
CDBG funds.
CDBG funds. And those are funds that, okay. All right, thank you for that. Is this a competitive grant?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and do we have the opportunity to have it partially funded? So say the splash pad would be too much of an expense and it has to cut out. And we'd be able to do the soccer field to be updated.
Yes, potentially. So when you get the grant awarded, you can always work with DCD or any of the groups to say, hey, we have a change in scope. They would have to prove that, but yes, if it ends up splash pad doesn't work, you just go back to them and say, hey, we got the grant award. You work with us, it doesn't look like the splash pad or the soccer field work or whatever. And generally, as long as you still stay within the grant agreement, okay, with slight changes, as long as it's not. I can't speak to DCD, obviously, but we worked on other things, adjustments.
Got it.
Just have to get the.
Just wanted to make sure if they were to award a lower amount,
Yeah.
considering the competitive nature of it, right? The other question I had was just about the Preziosi Park in general. I know Mr. Black had mentioned before about putting security cameras up at that park. Would that be something you could include?
Yeah.
There are, they already got the. All right. Well, then I'm good, because obviously we want to make sure that all our parks are invested in. Super program. The way that I see it. Mr. Mackey?
Yeah, Skip, this site plan, who put this together? Huh?
Our design came out,
Okay,
we bought the property. And they, and they brought
yeah, I just,
design. You didn't do any measurements or any of that.
okay, so this is not,
This is just a sketch.
I just, my fear with these pickleball courts being so close to the soccer field. I mean, you the pickleball, there's the court and then there's the area around the court. And I think what we would like to try and avoid is having that butt right up against the soccer field. That could be extremely dangerous for somebody to go from grass to concrete, like, so I just want to make, I just want to make sure that all this stuff would actually fit. And just generally speaking about parks in general, I mean, do we want to, what are the thoughts on lighting? I know you look at Short Park in Woodstock, and they've got solar powered lights on the pickleball courts, and I don't personally know. I know when they come on because I've been there. I don't know when they shut off, if they ever shut off. But it's this. Do we want to encourage people to be in a park like this later in the evening, as it starts to get darker earlier? I mean, you can potentially play soccer on a field, and I understand, like, you don't want people in the parks at night, but would having these parks lit a little better deter crime? I mean, having, no,
It's not.
I understand that, but I mean, if we also have a significant, I don't want to say significant, but we have a fair amount of money left in the ARPA line item for recreation. That still needs to be spent. Because we're getting close to that time frame where we need to decide what we're doing with the rest of this month. And in addition to that, bathroom facilities. I mean, what is the goal here? The goal is to get people to come to our parks, enjoy them, and hopefully stay for a while. But you can't stay at a park very long if you have to drive home to go to the bathroom. And if we're going to be having soccer facilities and now at Brandon Park, these brand new baseball facilities, it's gonna be a whole facility there now. You're going to be having a ton of people coming there all week long. We need, and Brandon Park or Memorial Park, we need to figure out how to get resident facilities in these parks so that people can stay longer and not have to drive home. And that's something that I would like to see as part of not only this. Okay, it is in the sketch. Okay,
Newberry. We have been before, we can do that.
Right.
Newberry.
okay, and then I would like to also see us start talking about Brandon Park as well. Because the usage of Brandon Park is gonna just skyrocket once wall starts getting in there and doing everything that they have planned, not only just wall games, but traveling little league tournaments. I mean, I know these guys have big plans for that facility when it's ready to go. So I think that's all I have at this point. But yeah, I just also want to make sure that these things all fit. So,
If we're awarded the grant, we have to go obviously the time.
right.
So
Okay.
this is just a very rough sketch of what we're thinking grant submission.
I love it. I love all of these ideas.
It'd be great if all fits, but at this
Yeah.
point, we don't know.
Sure.
We submitted, it's our pie in the sky, so to speak.
I mean, I think Williamsport has been begging for a soccer field for a very long.
Yeah,
So,
but, I mean, yeah, talking to the ASO folks, obviously, my talent fighter is my kids, they all play soccer.
Yeah.
And people come to us every weekend just about asking for soccer field. So
Right.
we definitely need it and want it. I hope we do. So, and to that end as well, so many people have said about how they appreciate the investments that we made, administration and council has made. But, so,
Do we know if the preference of this is gonna go towards local contractors or
we can't,
we can't do that?
it's got to go out, it's got to bid, it's the lowest responsible,
Okay.
so we can't preferential treatment on contract. Clearly, we would like it. to-
Yeah, we would like that to happen. Keep people employed around here.
I love that. Unless it's under professional.
I forgot to mention, the Austin did review it. Any questions?
Anybody else have anything they'd like to add?
In relation to that, or just in that?
In relation to this item number 2. And then nothing on that, so we'll move to item number 3, which was any related items. Lizzie, Mr. Mackey, anything from you gentlemen?
No, I just want to apologize for my part of this.
So, I'll forgive you.
But only because I
Just this one. Anything from any members of the administration? And anything from any other elected officials?
Yeah, so I just had some general questions to put out towards anyone involved with the economic committee. What is the status going on with current ARPA business grant? Have we heard back from UHY at all? Have they gotten in contact with anyone since they've had our information for a few months now?
Yeah, so that should go out for the next 2 weeks here. So we have, been working on all the letters right now, everything's just about ready to go.
Okay, have they contacted anyone in regards to all the additional caveats?
We have for the next week or so.
Okay. The other one I had is, do we have any other planned business programs currently in the works? Other than the grant program that we've discussed?
I don't personally, but I don't talk to council about for that one go,
Yes.
because there's only, whatever, the approved applications were, completed applications, I should say, were significantly less than $1 million allocated. So I would like, if, of course, the council agrees, to do that program again, very early in the year, so that way businesses that may have had, missing tax returns, whatever they were missing in their application, gives them another chance to apply, and then you still have this significant amount of money, where it gives them plenty of time in 2024 before it has to be allocated,
Yeah.
to do this program again. And I would like to continue it if we can, even after
Yes.
our budgets, keep doing it as a revolving cycle, if the money supports. But we still do have plenty of money left in this to do it again. It would have to be relatively quickly, so that we make sure they have the time, to make sure it's allocated to them, and that it's completed by 2026. It seems like a lot of time.
Yeah, and I'm trying to make sure we have some extra money stashed away for that too for you guys, so.
So I would say, but if you have like Kevin or anyone else, I know we've talked about it
Yeah.
times about different ideas. I'm all on board for that, but I think this program continue at least one more round,
Yes.
if not 2.
Yeah, hopefully we can keep it open a little bit longer. I know a lot of the businesses that I had given instructions to By the time they got the paperwork together, it was already closed out. I'm still hearing people coming in telling me that I didn't know about it. I know my office itself notified about 1,700 people, but if we can get proper instructions out to people, hopefully they can prep before the application period's even open.
It won't be, it'll probably still be about the same time, 2 to 3 months.
Yep.
No, we can't get 6 months. Well, time.
Yeah.
So I think 2 to 3 months. Right?
Yeah, that's enough.
That's around. We should be figured out, you put it out, chamber put it out, FCFP put it out, so I think people now looking for it.
Yeah, and I've been telling every business that comes in my office, keep an eye out for the license this year. I'm including everything we're doing in that.
So
So,
hopefully, I think, it's gotta be, you could have, I think, every business, you could try, whatever it might be, we have to have all the federal requirements.
yeah,
Have to have all that, information. I know it's, sometimes the borders, companies get frustrated, but you can't get federal dollars without all the.
without the check marks being hit. Now speaking of, governments bigger than ours, the state has a DCED program that has many, many programs on it. I know I included you on a recent email to a business. I actually did some research and I was actually able to find some business grants for programs that were specific to their stuff from the state. So I handed those off to them. And I was wondering if we have any planned, or if we have done in the past, any assisted programs where we've helped businesses apply to these state programs.
Cities help them.
Yeah,
Not necessarily, I mean, I facilitated, some applications, or putting them in touch with the right folks at CEP. Depending on what their business is, what they're looking for.
yeah,
Deputy Secretary Colello, from my neighbor, so we have a good relationship. So if there's questions, or businesses have questions, I usually have them reach out, very responsive. This team, CD has been here a number of times, but we don't necessarily have the capacity to, work on applications.
no,
People,
that's what I was wondering about.
facilitating. We've done that, where people have called us, where they called me development, or they called, our office and said, hey, we're looking at starting a business, actually working on it right now. Looking at starting a business, is there any programs from DCD, et cetera, that can help us, or we have a current business. So I usually just put them in touch with DCD folks, they obviously have many more people.
Yeah. And since you mentioned Lafayette, I'm not sure if it was them or another municipality, but one of the ones I was looking at had a phenomenal business start program. So they did it all on our website. They had people set aside. They could help them through that process. I was wondering if we could help anyone do that as well. And then maybe also put a link to the state DCD program on our website so that when businesses do come and look at economic development, they can follow that right to their program list.
Sure, we can put a link on, I don't know, very a lot of payments, but we can see the job, that absolutely,
Yeah,
so.
just because like long-term wise, as long as we keep businesses coming into the city or keeping our businesses that are here, that's gonna keep local people employed and they'll start putting their money right back into the area, hopefully making our place a better place to live. So that's about it for what I had. Anyone has any questions?
I appreciate your input on that. I'll take a motion to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Thank you all very much for coming. Appreciate your time being here first.